You guys aren't allowed to go.
I've got 9 o'clock, so
They go up, turn around. One bus goes up one side.
we'll go ahead and call this regular scheduled session of court into order. And on October 11th, 2022, and we'll start out with an invocation by Magistrate Gay.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Father, we just ask that you continue to be with our friends in Western Kentucky as they still work to struggle and to recover from the tornadoes, and be with our friends in Eastern Kentucky as they struggle to recover from the terrible floods. And Father, we ask that you be with all those that were in the path of the end and help them as they recover. We ask that you be with our men and women that stand in harm's way. Please be with those in Ukraine. Watch over and protect them. And Father, be with this court as we make the decisions that affect the citizens of our great county. And it's in your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, and if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Here I thought Chris couldn't grow a beard.
Let's take a look at the prior meeting minutes and entertain a motion there.
So motion we approve.
Motion to approve the prior meeting minutes made by Magistrate Ellis and seconded by Magistrate Sammons. And discussions, corrections, or any changes?
One point, and I'll make it again at the end of the meeting today, I had also mentioned the upcoming weekend of the 51st celebration of Portland's community.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Now, is that in the minutes that you're referring to?
Our bills totaled at $661,019.59 for this week. Do you all have any questions?
Make a motion we approve as presented. I'll show you that.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay to approve the bills as presented and seconded by Magistrate Sammons. Are there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion carries unanimously.
Can you work with Bill so when they're scanned in, they scan
Horizontally.
Because this is how they come to us.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yep.
I mean, we could technically lock the screen and turn it or whatever, but
Some of
There's-
us.
I can rotate that one.
there's really.
There you go, I agree with that.
I was trying to be nice this early. So anyway, but in Google it doesn't give you an option to rotate. So
Yeah, I can
anyway,
rotate.
wonderful. Thank you.
All right, next, Darlene, we'll talk about budget transfers.
Are we on budget? Okay. Budget transfers. Sorry, I got these in kind of late last night. Have to do an addition between the KBS and Springbrook, so I have to combine things. But they totaled $10,133 even.
Make motion we approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the budget transfers as presented by Magistrate Cullen and seconded by Magistrate Short. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, the next one is cash transfers.
Yes, I only have one. That'll be $100,000 to the EMS fund from general fund.
Make motion we approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Short. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. All right, let's see. approve new line items. This is Darlene again.
Okay, yeah, this is me. This is really my last thing for the meeting here today. I had 4 new line items I needed to add on from earlier. One of them was money market interest, which I've started moving some money into the money market, so it's actually accruing some interest now that we hadn't accounted for before, because money's gone up, interest rates have gone up, so that's pulling in some interest. Conferences, travel, and a county clerk audit that I was told that we didn't normally pay for, but when years passed, we looked it up and we have paid for this audit, so I just need to account for it.
Make a motion, we add those lines.
All right, we have a motion to add those lines from Magistrate Gay. Second.
Already seconded.
You already did, second. Magistrate Short. It's not by osmosis.
I know, right?
Okay, any
You got the children
discussion
playing
on,
over you right now.
I know, yeah.
any
Yeah, yeah,
discussion on the motion on the lines to be added?
No.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. All right, it's up to me. We can discuss how we want to proceed with potential funding of the Danville-Boyle County Development Corporation. I believe that we have some money set aside, so that this body will have to take action to reallocate should we decide that's the right thing to do, and I believe we're headed in that direction from our placeholder as the EDA with some $200,000 to the corporation. Not all of that to the corporation whatsoever, but it's worthy of discussion. We can discuss it today, or we can wait until after the corporation has its first meeting and get a roadmap ahead. And
That's the kind of thing, I think we should not put the cart before the horse. I think we should really allow the first meeting of the corporation to take place. You know, Alan had mentioned before here in court that the board would be making, finalizing some stuff on bylaws or whatever. One of those would be funding and what they think on funding requests from each contributor should be. And so I think we have that meeting first is scheduled for the 19th of October from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So I think we should have that meeting before we go ahead and start, issuing money to the new corporation.
I'll second it.
I will defer to the court's wishes on this. I think we're all in pretty much agreement that
We got the money set aside.
It's set aside. It's there. We just need to decide collectively how we want to spend that appropriation.
We really need to understand the needs for this. I mean, this is not like the EDA where, if we're talking about, utilizing some money to help, get water or sewer out to a place, where that's a large thing.
Yeah.
This is mainly to cover staffing,
It is.
marketing,
It is.
things like that. And so that
I think-
needs, that presentation on that side needs to happen first.
I think it's prudent to see what the vision of the staffing, positions are and how,
Correct.
it should be covered. So if that's okay with the court,
Does the authority have a meeting today? Did I pick that up somewhere?
EDA?
Yeah.
Not that I've heard.
Anybody heard anything?
I don't think
But
so.
when we left it last, it was open-ended.
Yeah.
Part of our funding on EDA was to send a message to.
Yes,
Yeah, it was.
It
It
was to
was.
send a message.
absolutely.
The message was sent. I think you gotta find out where the trail's gonna go, and we'll follow.
So we're all in agreement that we can defer a vote by the court on the reallocation of
It's
funds.
already budgeted, so
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah, you're right.
There's wisdom
Yeah.
in that based on past performance of the preceding entity.
So we've had that discussion, and we will defer until probably the next court session. It'll be after the first corporation meeting to discuss.
It might take two, but
It could, but-
and let's the past EDP still has money in the bank, So it's not like they don't have any money to continue
Right.
for this.
Right.
I believe the last count they had
Judge,
three,
is it-
$400,000 in the bank. So I think we taking our time with taxpayer dollars is the right way to go.
Judge,
Mention
is
that they
it,
made, I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead, I didn't mean
is it appropriate to reveal who our other member of that board is? Because I'm excited about that.
That was done in court, I believe.
Did we make a motion on that?
it.
Okay.
It was in the paper too.
It was in the paper, yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. So, is it, I didn't know that,
We voted on that.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that we have Mr. Uselis here, and I got a feeling that he might take a little bit more time. Would it be okay, Ben, if we put a couple of quick ones up?
Of course.
Or how's your schedule for right now?
I'm fine with whatever works best.
Okay.
Do you have a presentation you want to put up, or
I do. I can put it up, or we can just talk through it, whatever.
We just talk through it.
whatever you want to do?
Okay.
If so, we can get it to Bill, but if not,
Let's see if the sheriff is ready to step up and with some things.
Sheriff, you're on.
I am, okay.
Yeah, we'll get you guys first.
I think I've got a stack of stuff. Howdy, howdy. Okay. I have the third, what order do you want to do? I've got the third quarter.
Let's do the third quarter, because that can be knocked out pretty quick.
Okay, and then I've got the vest thing, and then I think he's going to get Deputy Prather, and I think his family's with him too.
Okay, all right, good. I think they're here.
Yeah.
I think we're here.
The third quarter was pretty uneventful. It's the calm before the storm, before we start collecting our taxes. So I don't know if this is just an acknowledgement or there really wasn't anything in it that was out of the ordinary. But I think, did you all get a copy of it? This stuff? Okay. Does anybody have any questions about it or anything?
Anybody have any questions on the third
Not at all.
quarter report?
make a motion we accept.
Motion that we accept and made by Magistrate Cullen and seconded by Magistrate Short. Being no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. All right, let's talk about vest real quick.
Okay. Which we had budgeted, in April. The vests for all new replacements for the deputies and court security, which I don't think we've ever actually gotten vests for court security with today's times. Some of those guys were wanting them, so we put it in the budget to try to get those guys protected too. They are kind of the front line at the courthouse. We budget 28, I think is what the budget was, 28, I think. That's what I had.
Okay.
And so for 32 vests, we ended up with a total of 25,929. That covers all the road guys, all the court security guys. These are probably some of the nicer vests that we've had. It's a little thinner material, which makes it more comfortable to wear, which you more have to wear it all the time. It's not
Slider,
some-
it's not,
Yes. That's with the ballistic protection. It's level 3A protection, and the carriers that go, the vest panels
Right.
rest in. And this is from a Safe Light Defense company, which is a newer company, and they were markedly cheaper than anybody else that we've ever gotten a vest from.
they have good ballistics test is what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
What's the longevity of those things?
5 years. And we haven't had any in about 7 right now. And plus, they're kind of fitted to your body. So some people's body style changes within 7 years, especially after the last couple COVID years. So
Sam, we eat more.
it's very possible. Maybe less active, I guess, something like that. So
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion to approve the purchase of the 32?
yes, sir. Yes.
32 ballistic vests, by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Ellis. Is there any questions or comments or discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries.
Ronnie's feeling left out, Judge.
Huh?
So Ronnie's feeling left out.
Tom was quick to the buzzer on that one.
Tom- barking
This
at
is
you this
important.
way, that's what
This
it
is
is.
very important.
All right,
Next time.
let's give the sheriff our complete attention on this next one.
This is Deputy David Prather, he's got his family here with him.
Come on up.
So I actually started with David in Danville, so we've got a over 20-year career together.
Good to have you.
On the 24th of August, Deputy Prather was asked to assist in Mercer County, in a remote area of Mercer County, with a search and rescue of a missing woman and her 3-year-old child. It was kind of a dire situation. She was in an altered state of mind from a medical condition with a 3-year-old child in diapers. Mercer County had been on scene for about 4 hours, and they had searched the area. Used a drone, had 5 or 6 deputies there looking. They contacted us and asked for assistance because it was chilly that evening. I know it was an August evening, but it was chilly that evening, and it was necessary that they found her and this child that evening because of her altered state of mind. Prather arrived with Deputy Cloyd. Mercer County at that time was beginning to expand their search area from the area that they initially thought. And a lot of times when we get called to things, you assess the situation and you ask, okay, can I search this area? I know you've already searched it. I just want to get an idea of where we're beginning, and then we'll expand it from there. So Prather, he got there and he said, I want to start in this area here where she was last found, where she was last potentially known, and they were okay with it. Deputy Prather's he's kind of got a unique skill. He kind of prides himself in man tracking. I don't know how to do it. That's why we've had dogs. But he kind of prides himself in man tracking. So he went to the area, looked for some sign that they had been, found some evidence that they had been potentially in that area recently, like a wet footprint, something like that. And within about 5 to 10 minutes, he heard the child, I guess, mumbling, something, just talking to himself. He located the child. The mother was unconscious, unresponsive, but breathing. And the child was playing on the edge of a creek in the water. So within 5 to 10 minutes, he had located the 2 potential victims. The mother was transported to the hospital. The child was taken into custody, and both of them, I guess, are doing well today. And I believe it's because of David Prather's actions that was. He, I don't have any doubt that both of those, or one or the other, could have potentially lost their life that night. And Deputy Prather's actions, it brought great credit upon himself and the Boyle County Sheriff's Office, and I would like to recognize him with a commendation for a life-saving award.
Jared, can you move in front of the podium,
Sure.
please?
Come out here in front of, come out here in front
Much
of.
easier.
Thank you.
David, thank you so much. Would you like to say anything about your man tracking skills, or
Derek,
in this case, lady tracking skills?
Derek, like he said, me and him have worked together for years, and this isn't the first time we've done this. We've had a couple of instances where we've had to do this and track others down that have fled more or less apprehension, and we've had to track them. We found one guy one night over off of 68 in a creek, and he had done a fairly decent job of trying to elude the dog that night, and was able to pick up and track him in.
Couldn't elude you though, could he?
Well, I've lost a few. I ain't found everybody I've went after. They have recently sent me to Alabama.
This was after that.
Yeah, that was after this, about 2 weeks
And that
after
wasn't
that.
why we sent him. Honestly, we didn't even know about this until
Yeah.
recently. He never said anything about it. We just happened to, one of the other deputies, recognized it, brought it to our attention, and he was already scheduled to go to a man tracking class in Alabama that he did.
So, but
Did you still start with hunting?
yeah, my dad started teaching me tracking when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, tracking animals, and it just evolved from there, and has now turned into tracking people. So,
Do you have Native American blood?
I have Native American heritage in my family, but I don't have any Native
That's
American
why you
blood.
have it. You have some skills that nobody has except Native Americans. I saw it some years ago. It's a special skill.
Well,
It's
David,
unique, let's put it that way.
from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your service and what you did to save lives. You are a difference maker, and we appreciate you greatly
Thank
from
you.
this court, myself from this court, I know.
Glad to have your family with us. too.
Julie, could we get a picture of General and Deputy?
I'd
family?
be honored to have a picture with you if we can.
Get his family in there too.
Come on up, man.
Come on up. I got to know a deputy right there. I just seen him in an accident one night on Lebanon Road there. And that famous
Come on
curve.
over here in front of the podium.
Sheriff's getting there with them.
Get on in there, y'all.
Get the guy up there.
Here, sit locked up.
Make yourself useful.
Can you get us all?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Awesome.
All right, thank you all so much. Let me shake your hand, sir. Thank you.
Young man, are you a hunter?
No.
Not yet?
Letting us recognize them.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all.
Sure. Take any extra time off or extra pay.
No, we don't have it.
Oh, yeah,
No.
Good.
No. I'll buy him lunch.
See you, Ronnie.
See you then.
See y'all. Thank you.
Y'all need anything else from me?
Derek,
No.
Derek, can I get a copy of what you have written there? It'll help me.
Yeah.
Thank
Have
you.
that?
Thank you very much.
That's what's kind of on this thing. I just have to rough bigger because I can't see.
Sure. Didn't he used to work for a different county?
We started at Danville together. He went to Harrodsburg.
Yeah, I know
He's been in
him.
Mercer for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he recently came back to us probably.
I didn't realize he'd come back over here.
He's got about 25 years of experience. So he's a good.
Yeah,
he
he's a
does
good
job.
guy.
He loves
Not-
night
not
shift.
in
Nobody
the
loves
law.
night shift. He loves night shift. Well, that helps even more.
Sure.
That's
Last
why I
night
work-
shift guy.
work from
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. Nick, Mike, how long will you be?
92.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Oh, you don't want
Yeah.
that?
Mike, step on up here and let's do this.
I got you. I promise.
All right. Mike's got something for us about a memorandum of understanding.
This is just our community paramedic program that allows us to be able to run the overdose awareness community outreach program. It's with the Kentucky Board of EMS. It's renewed annually, and this year they're under state government now, so the document is a little different than it was last time, but that's all it is.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding for the community paramedic program and made by Magistrate Cullen and second by Magistrate Ellis. Are there any questions? I think you have this in your.
We do.
Yeah, Judge, the fourth bullet after the now, therefore, there's a suggestion that there are a lot of details in the application. You're totally comfortable with those? Okay. Yeah. Don't want to delay
Do that
anything.
application, so.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries unanimously.
We finished September with 541 runs. We were busy over the weekend with the parallel events. We had a truck in Perryville, and then we had a truck at the battlefield. I was out there this weekend, and it was. I was just telling them in the committee this morning we had made probably 8 runs on Saturday, and then on Sunday we had that horse rescue where one of the cavalry. There was a hole, a big giant sinkhole, and horse fell in it and was bleeding, and we assisted the reenactors with packing it with quick clot that we normally use for ballistic injuries or arterial bleeds. Packed that wound and wrapped it up and got the horse up and out. So that was my first horse rescue, but had a lot of people there, and so. Any other questions?
Yeah, what's the latest on the ambulance? We ordered 2, we got both of them.
We have the one that we ordered from Road Rescue in. It's been approved by the state to go ahead and go in service. We're having some minor issues with the vibration that we're working with the Ford dealer on. So it'll be in service this week, hopefully. The second one will come in January. It's the Dodge that we ordered. We ordered a Ford and a Dodge. And the second one will come in January. So.
And what's the one we got that we got from the demo? What's that? Is that a
10.
number 10? Was that a Ford, Dodge, or Chevy?
It's a Ford F-450.
Okay. And we're not having problems with that one though, right?
Yeah.
Are they the same or?
The new one's a 550. So I don't know. It's the ambulance is the truck, the Type 1 or the truck chassis. They have a liquid ride system that lowers and raises when you open the back doors and adjusts when you're going down the road. And that's a different rear end than what Ford has. So there was some issues with when they put that new rear end in. Maybe the angle on the drive shaft is not just right. So the service manager at Stuart Powell has been really good helping us out with this. Is working with the liquid ride system engineers to figure out what's wrong with it. So.
Which vehicle brand, more or less, do you get the best service out of?
You know,
All
it's
that
my
transmissions and all that.
22nd year in EMS, and honestly, we've had problems with all of them. I mean, really, it's
A lot of wear and tear.
It's not the cars,
yeah.
it's the drivers.
It's just you know, it's a lot of weight, and you know, the way to get places quickly, you have to move a little quicker, and I think it's hard on them. But you know, we've had, when I started, we had GMCs, and then we had Fords, and then we had Internationals, and then we went to Chevys, and now we're back at Ford and Dodge. So
I thought we got real good service out of that old International, didn't we?
we had well, the first ones were good until they started putting the emission stuff on there, and then we were having issues with that. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, you get a good and a bad one in them all. So, I will say, with the mechanic, we haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't, with Tommy helping us, we haven't had a breakdown that hadn't been scheduled in a month, which is a world record.
I know for a while we had one sitting out on Lebanon Road.
Yeah, the EC6 is still out there. He's going to check on that today, and it's just because that transmission is out and it's being replaced, and we're waiting on.
It was under warranty.
Jasper. Yeah, we're waiting on Jasper. As soon as I get that truck back, the judge and I are planning on to surplus that truck and sell it to.
Sell it out. It's
sell it out.
had a kind of a black cat history.
Yeah.
It's Ford, I believe, isn't it?
It's a Chevrolet too. Now, I think the problem with the Chevrolets is they have that Duramax, but they don't have an Allison
They
transmission.
don't put the Allison transmission.
So it just doesn't hold up with the power. So
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
it. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mike.
Really appreciate the coverage during the Parkland, the Parable
Yeah, that's no
160th.
Allie, I know you're not on the schedule, but I'm glad you're here because I think Main Street Parable and the City of Parable had a great weekend. The weather was perfect. The crowds were tremendous. A lot of energy and activity, and I believe everything out at the battlefield went equally as well. So it was a great weekend.
We just need to make sure we get somebody in front of that fire truck next time. I almost wore out a hip trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, that set the pace, pretty good pace on that parade.
With me and your son were walking on there.
Yeah.
We're out of breath.
Woo-hoo. Okay. Now we have Mr. Benjamin Uselis. Benjamin is from Charter Communications and Spectrum, and he has some things he wants to talk about regarding Boyle County's broadband
You can
update.
move that desk however you need.
Yeah, this will be fine. I think if I just
Some of us, Ben has been with us before in some meetings here in the courtroom, and so I've asked him for an update, and after he's done, that we'll discuss maybe some future events.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you all for having me here today. It's been a few months since we were in this room. I think it was early June to talk about the first exciting project that I'll bring up today, but I'm here to talk about two exciting projects that we have in the works to expand broadband out into Boyle County. And so, to back up a little bit, I'm Ben Ucelis. I'm in government affairs. I've been with the company since we were in site back in 2010. And over the years, you know, we heard the cries for more and more broadband expansion in the rural areas. But for so long, it was a problem without a solution. If you want to say one of the maybe good things about the COVID era was that it shined a even brighter spotlight on this issue. And anyone who beforehand didn't realize that the need for broadband was this serious now knows very well. You had kids going to school from home, people working from home, contacting your doctor via your home. It's vital. And so the good news out of all that is that we're seeing investment in broadband like ever before. From our company, from governments at all levels, from other providers. It's been really actually a good thing to see over the last year and a half to 2 years. And it's been really beneficial to Boyle County. And so the first wave of this started, or was announced, I should say, January of last year, of 21, excuse me. And that was the first big project that we have, which is, well, I'm going to refer to it as our RDOF project. It's the FCC had it's called the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. Basically what they did is the FCC chose areas, put them up for bid, and said whoever needs the fewest dollars of federal funding to expand broadband service to these areas will win these areas. We were the largest recipient of those funds across Kentucky. We received about $58 million, and we're putting up more than $100 million of our private funds, and we will be serving 31,000 homes across Kentucky that today do not have broadband. That is going to include 1,445 homes in Boyle County. That project is well underway. We've done all the background work, the walkout. Anytime we do a project like this, we have to walk the whole thing out, look at every house, every pole, every area, kind of design the whole network. Then we do all of our permitting, getting pole permits, road permits, other things like that in, and then we can start construction. And we're hoping to start construction here later this year. So that was phase one, the RDOF. And I've kind of given away the next part here, but round two, yes sir?
Does this connect everybody in the county?
Getting there.
We're getting there.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I should say too, that's a good point, because everyone who's going to be connected through both of these projects, the second of which I'll talk about here in a second, will have access to full fiber to the home service. That means the furthest person out that we are connecting through these projects is going to have service just as good as someone in downtown Danville, downtown Lexington, downtown New York City. It's going to be all part of that same network. Yes, sir?
Yes, connection, but until they subscribe, you won't go from the road to the home, will you?
These projects include going to the home of anyone who wants our service.
And I refused it, and you invested in me.
That's correct.
Okay,
we could,
that's all the better. Thank you.
And to be clear, we could build all these homes and not a single person sign up for our service. There's no requirement to have people sign up.
Excellent.
We're building it out in the hope that they come. Now, given that these folks do not have service right now, we're hopeful that a lot of them join with us. But some of them may not. Some of them may be used to not having service and not need service. So that's fine.
Yeah, well, I stop y'all all the time, the guys on the road.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they're about a half mile from my house.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I go, when y'all coming up my way?
Hopefully soon.
If you'd leave them alone, they'd be done by now.
No, if you keep bugging them, they'll get on up there.
I'm sure
Feel
it's
free to bug them.
All right, what was the second part? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I got one more quick one.
No, please, this is great.
Does this take care of most of the industry here? Does this help them?
I mean, so most of this is in the more rural residential areas,
Okay.
but there are small business areas as well. Our hope would be the more industrial areas, obviously anywhere in and around Danville and the more populated areas, we would already have service.
Yeah.
So this is all in addition to where we currently serve. This is all new areas of unserved homes.
So it's a bigger number all told.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
this is-
thinking in terms of speed and width, bandwidth, does it help them to have a greater efficiency in that area?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Anyone who gets connected to this, most of these areas are going to have, as of right now, the top speed that these areas have is probably like 25 meg. our starting speed for any customer that signs up today is 300 meg. We have a 500 meg service, and then we have a gigabit service. Those are big words that just mean it's much
Gigabit would be
faster.
like real time now.
Yeah.
And what's ironic about that is that a lot of your equipment that you're hooking up to it don't even actually have the ability to utilize the full gigabit.
Right.
Like we found that out when we signed on early on that you know, I was doing download upload tests. I'm like, well, why is it only getting me this speeds? And they're like, well,
Depends how old your stuff is.
your stuff's old. It's not
Yeah.
ready for it. So
It really is, and the hope in us doing this, and I know a lot of the governments who are investing in this, is hoping that you're building something future-proof. So
Right.
most of the folks in the rural or the urban areas don't need a gigabit of service today, unless you've got 50 things going on in your house. But if you've got, you know, a handful of computers and some TVs connected and even a security system, our lowest tier of service should take care of you today. But we know things continue to change. More and more things are happening online. So our hope is by building out this network, you're future-proof as much as anything can be future-proof these days.
So when are they gonna start coming around to houses?
you let me get through the presentation.
Listen, every time I get
You
one of
beat
these
me to it, Brian.
presentations, the comments and the questions, it shows how interested people are in this. And so I'm excited to answer those.
Let's give him your address and he'll.
That's what I'm going to give you my card.
You send it to me, I'll let you know which way that's going to
Put him as lowest on the list. Don't bother me.
As I mentioned, we should start construction later this year. And so, like I said, we do all this back-end work. These projects take a lot of time, like any other major infrastructure investment. Our guys literally have to go pole by pole, take a picture with the measuring tape of where all the lines are, package all this data up for every single pole. We're talking thousands of poles across the county.
Well, Ronnie beat me to it on that question.
Where's
You
the duct tape?
mentioned permitting and actual contacts. You're going to be out in these 3 districts and you won't find the people to go on their property. How are you going to possibly make the contacts?
So almost everything we do is in the public rights of way. So wherever electric is now is where we're going to go. We attach to electrical poles. But that said, yes, you're going to find instances where we have to get cross private property. We've handled that in the past. We find ways to get in touch with the resident and find a way forward.
But our local media could probably help in the general way, since you're going to be pretty aggressively moving. So we'll try to help out on that.
Their desire for wanting high-speed internet will help faster.
That's the hope too.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've had folks who won't let us through no matter what, and we just have to find a way.
You
around.
had 1 or 2 in my district.
Okay. Well, we might.
So concentrate on the other side first.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I assume you're going down a place like Pearl Road, for example, 150.
Yeah.
I assume you use a road like that before you get on out in the county, is that correct?
Yes, but we're going to be getting on out in the county as well. I mean, as I'll show a map here in a second. You'll see it's pretty comprehensive. Especially, you know, when you look at this first product, this first wave, the FCC project, they defined the areas, and what they did was they tried to pick the most rural, the most isolated, the most unserved areas. Now, to your point, when will people get hooked up? We hope to start the actual construction, putting lines up later this year, and then within about a month or 2 after that, we will start lighting people up. And when we start construction, we try to light people up as much as we can along the way. We don't wait to build the whole thing and then flip one switch. So the hope is, you know, maybe, you know, early part of next year, the first wave of people will start seeing the service.
Good.
Will that be more true on the major arteries first?
Not necessarily. So the way we build it is, we build it by boundaries. So we have these things, they're like nodes, they call them OLTs, and the fiber goes into this equipment and then goes out to all the homes. And so when we design this network around the map, we block it off into these boundaries. How many homes can one of these nodes serve? And so once we finish full construction of one of those node areas, which will include maybe some main roads and offshoots and all that, we'll light that one up and then wait for the next one to be ready.
Aren't you glad you're not in Florida?
In Florida for so many reasons.
Oh.
What wave 2? was when I came here to meet with you all in early June, I told you all what we had done. Last October, the first round of state funding for broadband was opened. It was a $50 million round that Governor Beshear and the legislature had worked out all the kinks and gotten this up and running. And so it was kind of a test balloon for them. They had never done something like this before at the state level, but still we were excited about it, and we, on our own accord, were able to identify some areas that we think fell into the state's state's requirements for that project. We identified another 1,158 homes, and when I met with you last time, I was hopeful that we would win it. We found out since that we did win that award, and so that will be kind of the second wave of this project. So while the first one's going on, the second one, we're going out now and we're starting that walkout process. We're starting to look at every single pole, look at every house, and starting that design. So basically all this is to say, over the next 2-year period, you're going to have lots of construction, lots of building, lots of people getting lit up with service across the county.
I'd like to add to this while he's talking, and Ben knows this. Congressman Guthrie in his office was instrumental in the FCC aspect of the RDOF award and helped us in that regard. And Julie and I went to Carrollton for Lieutenant Governor Coleman's announcement about the award of the 2.3 from KIA, Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, back several months ago. I don't remember when that was.
Yeah, I remember because I was out of town. It was early August. Yeah. I was sorry to miss that, but that was. I'm glad you all went to that, and it was a celebratory for us as well because we were thrilled about it. This project in Boyle County is one of 19 awards that we won in this first round. We're building out to another almost 19,000 homes through this first round of funding, and so we're thrilled about all the building that we're going to be doing. To do all this, we've actually created an entire new arm of our construction unit. So we have our BAU, business as usual construction team that goes out and services the network we already have, making sure it's always running at top speed. And now we have a second arm that is handling all this new build out area.
Well, that sounds good. You're not contracting it out.
Well, we do a lot of that too. I mean, we are hiring lots of new contractors, but we do a lot in-house, and we have a huge workforce that we're continuing to grow. If anybody is interested or knows someone who wants to hang some fiber, we're probably going to hire them.
Phil, there you go. You're looking for something extra to do.
Yep.
Phil,
Okay,
there's
just
a job opportunity, Phil.
Yeah, Ben, real quick. I mean, I think it's important to know.
Needed that selection.
2,600 doesn't seem like a lot, but that's households. And if you put together, like, okay, there's an average of 4 people in a house, you're talking over 10,000 people.
Sure.
That we're getting access to, and we already have some that have service or whatever right now. So while that number doesn't seem like a lot, it actually is. Especially in the areas where it's going.
Well, this is the underserved area for most part. Both of these are. There's already some fiber in the higher density volume parts of the county already, and they'd be hooked up. But this is the new underserved areas.
All right. Well, I have a couple questions when you're done.
Yeah, but that's a good segue to where I was going next, because 2,600, it may not seem like a lot, but it actually, when you combine that with what we already serve, there may be some other pockets where, like maybe AT&T or someone else has some fiber where we don't. But basically what we're looking at in Boyle County is, and I'll go ahead and switch to the map here. And I know there's lots of colors on here. It's going to be kind of crazy. I'll try to walk through it. But
Tom can't see this, by the way.
We're left with just, when these 2 projects are done, I think it's probably safe to say you all will be close to about 98% covered by high-speed broadband in one way, shape, or form. Because, and hopefully no one's colorblind. The guy that I work with.
Tom's colorblind.
Oh, okay. A guy that I work with is colorblind, and he's having a hell of a time with all these maps that we're looking at.
Explains all the outages.
The dark blue, those blue shaded areas, mostly in this, southwestern portion, a little bit over in the east. That is phase 1. That is the RDOF project. That is the one that we're hoping to start construction on within the next couple months.
That's good.
Yeah, I knew that was part of you. So we are excited about that. The The light, or let me say this, the gray, if you can see that there's a gray that is different from the light pink, the gray is where we already serve. That is our current service footprint. Now it's a rough area, I'm not saying it's exact, but that's about where our footprint currently is. The light pink with the little green and yellow dots, that is the state grant project. That is phase 2. So each one of those dots is a household that's going to be covered by that second wave of building. And so what's left over is the red, which is an RDOF area won by someone else, not us. So either, I think I would get AT&T or Windstream.
I think it was Windstream.
Windstream. Windstream is actually just those 2 little red dots on the side there. The one up north is SpaceX, or Starlink, they call it. It's the Elon Musk satellite company. And they were trying to do some sort of satellite broadband service. I think they've abandoned it. But Judge, you and I looked at that area, and I think
that's mostly around the D's, Sweetbriar Farm area.
Exactly. I think we identified maybe 20 homes in that whole area up there. So it's a more isolated area. But then what's left is kind of this medium pink, right? That just north and south of, I believe that's 150 there, right?
Yeah.
So just that area there's a couple little pockets of it there. Those are areas that did not qualify for round 1 of state funding, so we couldn't go after them. They may qualify for round 2 of state funding. We're hopeful they do. And all in all, you're looking at probably about 200 homes there, 200, 250, somewhere in that range. Other than that, once these projects are done, the blue, the light pink with the dots, once all that is done, those 200, 250 homes
You're
are about
100%.
all that's left. So
It's a curiosity that the light colored area with the surrounding dark blue, is that just the terrain is the issue there, or what?
You mean why there's pink in the middle of that blue?
Whatever color.
Yeah, it's so again, the blue were areas chosen by the FCC. We had no say in it, so they just kind of put those areas up.
Interesting.
And so that's what we were able to bid on. So yes, with that second round, this kind of weird shape in the middle, we're basically filling in that donut hole with that state funding and getting that hole.
The dark, I would say maroon or purple, the 2 small areas.
Sorry, yes. Small areas of purple. I think those are the areas where it's possible there could be some AT&T fiber or some other provider with fiber that's not ours. Yes, sir.
This works like you presented it very well and really does what we want to do. But people have to pay for it. Is it going to be affordable in your eyes?
We do a lot of work to make sure we have affordable options. And so before any of this federal funding came down, we had a product called Spectrum Internet Assist, which was available to families on free and reduced lunch or seniors on supplemental income. And I think it's somewhere in the $17 to $20 a month range for a 30-minute service. It's a slower speed of service, but it's much cheaper. Also, now that this federal funding has come down, there's also been federal funding put towards affordability. And there's a new program called ACP, Affordable Connectivity Program. I hope that's right. Which gives qualifying households a $30 rebate on their service. Again, it's similar criteria, but it's actually a wider base of people that are eligible for it. And so what we've done is we've created a new product called Spectrum Internet 100, which is a 100 meg speed service, which is available to anyone who is eligible for that federal program. And we price it right at $30. So if you sign up, you get 100 meg speed, you get your $30 rebate, you're essentially getting it for free. So we've participated in every federal program for low income. We have some of our own low income. We recognize that's a need as well, to try to make it affordable.
Once the person signs up, pays you $300 or $500, and then what kind of monthly fee will they have?
So the $300 and $500 is the speed, not the price. So there will be no additional price other than maybe like a one-time, installation fee, which would be the same that anyone else would pay. our goal in doing this, whether you're talking about speeds or pricing or whatever, when we connect someone in the far reaches of the county or it's someone in downtown Danville, they're treated the same. So the monthly costs will be the same. The speed services will be the same. The low income offerings will be the same. Again, so everyone's kind of on the same level.
As long as they have service on it, I assume they will not pay. After it's hooked up and everything.
Yeah, so that they will have the same monthly rates as everyone else.
Usually between like $50 and $100 depending on the speed. And I think we talked before, I think usually installation, and this is not guaranteed, but it's usually about $99 to install.
Ours is actually it's $49.99 is what we charge anyone where we have to like roll a truck out and hook up their homes, which is probably going to be a lot of, since it's likely a lot of these homes have never been wired for service, we might have to do that. So again, that would be a one-time cost of about $50.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're on. But again, no installation to get it, down their driveway. 'Cause that was the issue previously. It was like, even if we run down some of these roads to get to the house, you're looking at another, sometimes quarter, half a mile to get to the home. And that was what was really cost prohibitive. But now with this additional funding, it allows us to get those connections.
How deep is that buried?
That's a good question.
They probably go at least,
Kentucky rock, who knows?
probably try to go at least 24 inches.
Because I'm thinking of our rock.
Well, and we're probably about 75% at least aerial.
On lines.
Yeah, up on the poles.
Well,
And
then
so
that leads to the other question that I wasn't even going to ask, because when you went down the driveways, I was okay, but if you're having poles, the forestation, even, I've been all over my district recently, and I can be from here to the corner there and not even see the house because of the heavy timber and things. You'll be taking down trees, I assume.
They'll run it with the same electrical lines that go to the house.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. And then the second question would be,
No
maintenance
wheel.
and heavy storms are gonna take some of those down, take your poles down. How quickly do you normally, with what you have operational, get that taken care of?
yeah, I mean, it depends on the severity of the storm and how widespread it is. But that's again why we have our two separate units, right? We have one that's
And they're your
constantly
folks.
building, exactly, and we have one who's maintaining that network all the time. I mean, we were heavily involved with the tornadoes in Western Kentucky that hit a lot of our areas, and we have very good relationships with the electrical providers so that we can get. So usually, as soon as the electricity is up again, we're up again. We try to keep that delay as low as possible.
So and you may have answered this, I'm sorry. So the question on everyone's mind, blue and pink, or green dots, whatever you want to call it, what's the timeline?
Yeah.
What are we thinking? I know we can't guarantee it, but what are we thinking?
So the commitment right now, like I said, the blue will happen, well, let me back up. So the FCC put a timeline on their awards. It said it had to be built by like 2026. Or
And to use your term, lit up.
But, yeah, activated, like turned on. We're trying to build it way faster than that. That's why we're hoping to start construction this year. So all signs are pointing to the blue will be done within the next year or so, completely.
So 12 to 18 months,
Definitely.
approximately.
I feel very confident, especially if we're starting construction already, then I feel very confident.
Yeah, you guys want an ROI on here, so.
Right. The pink areas, we are committing to a 2-year build time overall for those areas. Technically, that starts from the date of the contract being signed, which the contracts are still in working out right now, which will probably be finalized within the next month. So it'd be basically 2 years from today. But again, our goal is to build things as quickly as we can. But that will be our requirement will be to have all that done within 2 years. And RDOF will be done that quickly as well.
Yeah, that is very much amazing. And I think Ben will tell you, as Director of Government Affairs for Charter Spectrum, I early on when he was here in June, we saw the value of this, and I kept cultivating and working with him. I met with him in Frankfurt. I've done some other things to help this process come to fruition, and worked with Brett Guthrie went to Bardstown and sat through some FCC presentations on this RDOF. So taking these two funding streams and bringing them together for a cohesive impact of Boyle County is something that, as Ben will tell you, I've been working on as soon as we met, back in June or there before.
Absolutely.
And he probably has some more to talk about, but I have also worked with Ben to have a major announcement about this, a public announcement, later this week at the Forkland Community Center on Friday afternoon at 2:30. And I would sure love to have everyone of the court there, John, for this announcement that I think is appropriate, that comes from the most underserved area of Boyle County.
As a heritage festival, yeah, we're looking forward to that very much.
I think there's another line of thought on all of this. This kind of planning and work does tremendous things for the state, because the state has been so far behind in this area, that for us to be competitive with other states, and we have to be competitive within our state, competition is such that we have to have this, because it's our interstate of the future.
It is, you're absolutely right.
And to that point, let me just say, like, and to both of your points, the local leadership, especially in Kentucky, is being recognized across our company. I have colleagues in other parts of the country that I talk to almost every day, and they're always like, what is in the water in Kentucky? How come all these county judges and magistrates and mayors and everyone are pushing this so heavily? We've responded to more RFPs and had more county discussions and partnerships than we have anywhere else in the country, and I think it speaks to the local leadership especially. But now the state is really starting to pull their weight and have this program running as well.
It's because we're so far behind, and we finally have recognized it. Now we're saying, we better get on our horse and go.
But it's paying dividends for sure.
Can you punch through so we'll have all of your presentation?
Yeah.
Can I ask one question?
Of course.
Are we fully funded for all households in Boyle County?
With the exception of the
196 to
200-ish.
In the red?
Yeah.
And the red. So,
Yeah.
So if you count, I think my numbers had like, well here, actually I think it's on the next slide. Yeah, so, and this is probably even more confusing than that crazy map, but look at the highlighted yellow and look at the green. So the green is those SpaceX areas that I was telling you about. So you're looking at about 30 homes in that whole big red area. But if you see where it says CPP, that is cost per passing. That means that to serve those areas, you're looking at $19,000, $20,000, $28,000 per household to serve those areas. That's how spread out they are. That's difficult even with significant funding, because then you're looking at $20,000 a passing to serve 2 homes, and what if neither one of those homes even wants your service to begin with?
That's why I asked that question earlier on.
So that part's hard. That may not be something that you look at right now. We can talk more about it. But the yellow is what I kind of have my eye on, because so if you'll see it,
Those 196 homes there.
Those are areas that have somewhere between 25 and 100 meg speeds. So that's still pretty slow, but it was a little too fast to qualify for the first round of state funding. So that's why we weren't able to include that in our first round. I think my understanding is the second round, which is going to open any day
This
now,
month,
probably later this month, yeah. That they will allow for those homes to be included in the project. So we could very likely try to go after those 196 homes in this second round of funding.
What Ben and I have previously discussed, and I want the court to consider, is that if we put, as he and I have discussed, maybe a little some skin in the game financially, we could finish out that 196 plus homes as a co-applicant on an application for the second round of KIA funding for the project that would finish that out, which puts us virtually at 100%.
When should we consider that so that we can move ahead?
Well, Ben, I will defer to your judgment on that. Do we need to do that sooner than later, or?
I think it's very good that you're having the conversation now. I think I would wait until the program officially drops and that we know the official, like, because I'm pretty
The
sure
window will be about 3 months,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. And so what I'm planning to do for Boyle County and every other county that we serve is as soon as that program is released, and I know for certain what the guidelines are, we have a pretty good sense based on last year's legislative session where it's going to go. But once I see those guidelines, then I'll take those to our team and I'll say, this is what we need to look at. Basically put together a design like this for every county that we serve. Where can we where can we find good projects to add into the mix, and we'll go after it at that point. And so I will have a lot more information probably here in a month about what the program looks like and how this project falls into it. But I think it's very good that you're having these conversations now, because it's 2 or 3 months, but it happens quickly. Round one was even wilder. I had judges that I was talking to like on the day of submission. I'm like driving to Frankfurt to hand in the forms and still trying to work things out. So you're in a better position than that. And to judge's comment about putting skin in the game, one thing that the state has said is that they will prefer applications where a county has shown some financial involvement. Now, I had some in round one. Anderson County, for example, we had a big project in Anderson County, but it was really expensive, even with our funding match and everything. And so Anderson County had to put more than $2 million towards our application. And fortunately, we won. And so we're building that one as well. But I had others where even if we could afford to do the project on our own, they may put up, $50,000, $100,000, just so they could be on the application, show that level of county support. So
It does weigh well with the state's appraisal of the project.
I mean, we're not going to talk money now, but I think most of the court would say, yeah, we could buy into that if needed. I'm just taking a census right now that, depending on the dollar figure, most of us would be behind having some skin in the game.
And I'm going to work with Ben in the future on this.
And it goes back to in-kind services. We do that as well, whatever. But question for you, because this is something that came up at my last Pulse of the People. So I have on 52 there heading towards Lancaster, looking at the map. I was trying to take a picture of it and look at it over there. Looks like that blue area is going to skip a couple houses right to the left on 52, right by Pope Road. Okay. And so they're probably in the 2-year time frame. And while talking with a couple of the people out there, they're like, we have people across the street from us that have service. So is there any desire or any plans to kind of maybe knock out some of that low-hanging fruit, where it's, you've got the service there, you just need to maybe run a little bit more line or
drop
something?
to the other side of the road.
And you'll notice here, if you look at what's interesting about this, when you start doing layering projects on top of each other, I think there's a very good chance that some of these 1158 homes get built as part of the 1445 homes. Because if you look at the map here, see the clusters of dots along the edge of the blue?
Yeah.
Our rule right now is that if we're going down a road, say and there's blue area on one side of the road but not the other,
right,
we're going to hook up both sides.
It makes complete sense. So if you're looking at that red dot, like where the red and the purple kind of come together,
yes.
So that actually happens to be my neighborhood. So to the
cursor.
Yeah. So to the right of that, those clusters of greenhouses getting right. That's the area where it's populated, and I have several people. One of the gentlemen works from home, and it's like he has to come into town to do work from home or stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway, it'd be great. I'm glad you guys are looking at that.
Yeah. So I would say like these homes right here along the blue, there's a good chance those are along the same street, right? So like
Pope Road, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now another thing that happens sometimes, I'm trying to say I've got a good example. So let's say this area here, and I don't know this for sure, but let's say we have to run fiber from here to here to serve that blue area. We'll pick up along the way. So sometimes like just the routes we have to take to go out to the blue areas, we'll pick up additional homes on the way there.
And so it probably takes a few months once you guys run the line to kind of then get stuff active, or Is it a,
Every time we activate one of those boundaries I talked about, I get a report from my team that says, this one's activated, this is how many households we activated, this is how many were included in the blue areas, and these are how, and they also give me a number they call synergy passings, which is other side of the road kind of houses. And there's actually quite a few, like it's not like 50-50 or anything, but there's a lot of homes we're picking up. That 31,000 number that I said, that was the original number that we got from the FCC of how many homes we're hitting with this project. It would not surprise me if there was more than that we are able to pick up because of all these additional passings.
great.
But if you're already in that area anyway, I mean,
It just makes sense,
it
right?
makes sense to go ahead and just get everybody while you're there instead of coming back.
Yeah,
It's cost, it's cost related, so.
absolutely.
Is it possible to make this effort a revenue stream for the county to be able to pay off if we put some upfront money in? We can get it back from.
Well, we haven't really gone down that path, John. I don't know if there's the potential for that or not. You mean to recoup whatever skin we put in the game?
Right. Otherwise, it becomes an unfunded mandate almost, in some respects.
Well,
No, I look at it a little differently than that.
I think the benefit you'll gain will be the access of more people being able to work from home, and then make them attractive, and then you get payroll taxes and stuff like that. I think there is some good benefits to it. So.
Is that what people are doing, is just taking it on and
Yeah.
not recouping the revenue?
That's the way this has worked to date. Basically, we're looking at this as infrastructure construction grants, right? Similar to like I know in a lot of parts of the country, when electricity went out to homes, like there was, or plumbing or things like that. It's a similar type roads. Yeah, anything like that.
This is the new road.
It is.
It really
This
is
is the new superhighway.
for sure. And so, that's been the structure so far. And again, and that's why we try to make sure we're always putting the lion's share of the funds up front. Now there may be some areas where like those green areas there. If we were ever going to serve those, we would need like a 70 to 80% grant funding from state, federal, local funding to build that, because it's just so expensive. But that highlighted area, our goal will be to put the lion's share of the money up. The way I've been kind of using it like a federal, state, local approach as well, where like my goal is to get as much federal money first, then fill in the gaps with state money. Then if we need local money, we go there. That's kind of the route I've been taking. There have been some counties that we've done direct partnerships with, where the county has put their money up to cover a project. So, for example, and I'm not suggesting you all need to do this or anything like that, but for the 1.4 million that's needed to hit those 196 homes, if we did a direct local partnership where we put up whatever it was, so let's just call it 50-50, it'd probably be more on us, but if we put up 50 and you all put up 50, then we start the project tomorrow, then we go to the state and see if we can get you all made whole again so that we can use your state money, but it just kind of guarantees the project so you're not waiting on that state approval. That's another route to take that some counties have taken, but a lot of it depends. Honestly, as much as I'd like that, I think y'all are in a good position here, and with this next round opening so soon, I would go after that. Now, maybe we go after it and we don't get it, and then we can come back to the table and see if there's another route to get those.
And there might be another route, but it won't know until they get deep into it, because there will be such a blending of connectivity. It may have some overlap impact on covering some of those homes in that area.
That's fair.
So what's the potential down the road? It's a potential.
It's a potential down the road. Yeah.
Just don't want to miss an opportunity
But I think let's say worst case scenario, we don't win our award for those 196 homes, and there's not a direct path forward. You all are still in, with these two projects already underway, like we said, 98% coverage. You're going to be in a much better position than a whole lot of counties out there. And you're getting it done early, right? Because that's the one thing in the back of my mind that I'm worried about, is that 3-4 years from now, when these projects are happening, The money will be there. There's more federal money coming. We're talking billions coming down within the next couple of years. My concern is the labor and the fiber, because the supplies are going to start running thin. The labor's already starting to run thin. We're like I said, we're hiring like crazy. The good news is, because of all this expansion we're doing, we're investing more than $5 billion across the country on all of this. And so we are at the front of the line when it comes to fiber supply. The major fiber suppliers in the country, like we've basically said, like, look at all this stuff we've got going on. We have to be in the front of the line, but it's going to be harder and harder down the road. So you all are in a good position for 98% of your county.
We've spent a lot of time on this, but I wanted y'all to hear this from the industry expert on this. And like I said, there will be an announcement Friday afternoon at the Forkland Community Center, and I hope as many of you as possible will be there, because I and this court have helped make this happen, okay? And Ben will be there, and he'll have some others. But is there any other questions? Because Ben, do you have anything else you need to tell us that you haven't told us?
I think that covers it, but I'm always open for questions. My cards, I left my cards back at the office and only grabbed this, but I'll get my information out to all of you.
And you can provide what you can
yeah.
Of this presentation to us. So if we have any other constituents or residential questions, we can help share some of this with them going forward.
And Ronnie's willing to wait till you get everybody else first and then come back to him.
Yeah, he can be last.
No way.
Send me your address.
I want your number.
Send me your address. I can figure out which exact project you're in and when you're getting covered.
When you get the whole hour stop.
Oh, that's all right. No, it ain't.
Depends on which way he's coming.
Well, Ben, I want to thank you personally for being here today and giving us an excellent, thorough brief on the future of broadband internet here in the county. And this will be something that I know the residents of Boyle County will embrace with open arms, and this will be a tremendous benefit to us, both from a residential and an economic development corporate standpoint going forward.
Especially in our counties.
Yeah.
No, we're very excited about it, and thank you all so much for y'all's leadership on this and for having me out to talk about it. Look forward to seeing everybody on Friday.
Great. That sounds good. Thank you, Ben.
Right. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You gonna email that stuff?
I will. I'll shoot an email around and get it to everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Block you for a second.
Okay, we're at the point where we'll start with Patrick and see what he's got. We'll go around for district reports, and Patrick, you got anything for us?
Not today.
Okay, good. See, that was quick. That was quick. John, how about yourself?
Couple of things I want to bring up. It's really countywide. I will tell you that on my agenda that's coming in, I want us to look at a noise ordinance again for the county. I'm giving you a warning, so I'm gonna bring them back up. So if you want to start working on your thoughts and how it will affect your district, some it won't. But I got a lot of people interested in that, so I'm gonna follow up on it. I want to thank Julie and Mariah for setting me up at the end today. Appreciate their work on that. Judge, you opened up something the other day that I thought a lot about since you opened up. And that's the railroad pass over McLeod. Maybe we have an opportunity to make that a welcoming entry into our city. So I think you and maybe Dwayne, I don't know who would be involved in this, but it hadn't gone to sleep on my watch. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And the door hadn't opened, but you opened it up the other day.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Well, of course, talking with the railroad and the state, if you remember correctly, nobody has any problem. We'd have to do it environmentally safe to paint the bridge a solid color, okay? But putting any kind of message on the bridge gets into a different category. But just to have it painted a solid
It's a
color
long
would be a
way just
long
to
way.
have it painted, I agree.
Yeah.
But if we could make it special with some thinking outside the box, I'd like for us to cross that road too.
You mean message it?
Message it or something that everybody can agree on, which may be tough to do, but input from tourism, they have probably seen this done in other places. I just think let's do it because we all know how it looks. We can do better.
Okay, I think we need to examine that, and we can move forward with that. I'll get with Dwayne and some of you guys, and we'll just kind of brainstorm it. And
We did talk about that the other day with the gentleman from the railroad when he was here, and Dwayne was in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest part is going to be the type of paint that we'll need and actually scrubbing it down. It's going to be an expensive endeavor, and so
It will be.
It will be, and that's why I'm saying to y'all have time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because that's the court decision, and we'll be paying for it, I guess. But I just think it can mean a lot on that road coming in.
oh yeah, yeah.
It can't look any worse than what it does.
No, you'll have
Well,
to.
it's looked pretty bad the last, how many
The
years?
one downside is they may have to shut down the
Long
road
time.
at a certain point to
That's when
clean
we're gonna
it.
have to think outside the box as to how to get it done.
Yeah. we
Because
will.
they'll have to drape it and
Yeah.
catch everything that falls.
Have you ever seen a truck stuck in there, under there?
I have not.
I have.
Last thing,
Were you driving it?
Constitution Square property, I'm hearing some rumors that there's people that may be going in some of the offices using it, or there's some nonprofits looking at it closely.
BOK is discussing it.
Board of
I didn't know if the Constitution Committee had discussed it.
Yes,
Yes, yeah.
yes.
That-
Is that-
They're ready.
In our last meeting, we
Yes.
discussed it. Yeah.
That's a positive.
If you'll recall, 3 years ago, we talked about it and did not act on it because there were concerns about having commercial use of the property, but the BOK is very interested in that.
I don't think we should.
Birthplace of Kentucky.
I
for the
think we
life.
should keep it on the table so we can keep it in mind.
Absolutely.
Going that
So
direction.
we had, and I think we discussed this in court, where we have Great American Brass Band Festival has taken an office
Yeah,
in there.
And yes.
And
There's some others looking, I think.
I think there's one others that that Terry is in discussions
Exactly.
with, but per the lease, anything they want to do comes back to the court for final approval. So
The previous lease, I would assume, is null and void.
essentially, yeah, that's the other thing we have to start getting on is, and that's why I think we need to discuss on the
Is
19th.
there any official action we need to take to null and void that?
I think it expired.
I think technically that it's already expired because of the
October
change
1st.
in, there's
October
no,
1st.
Okay,
there's no new assignee clause in that lease, so.
so it was over without any official action from us on October 3rd.
It just, yeah.
My understanding, that's correct.
September.
It's a month right now.
And it's on my list to do this week.
Thank you, sir.
What else you got? Anything?
That's it.
All right.
I don't have anything.
Nothing? Okay. Jamie?
Just to acknowledge that this is Senator's homecoming weekend coming up, so as often we do, there'll be a lot of guests in town.
And they play who?
Barry,
Barry.
in the new stadium, kind of partly built.
That's the
Partially
previous-
built new
Partly
stadium.
built new stadium.
That's the previous champion, right?
Not last year, but they have been.
That's right,
They're,
okay.
it's a tough homecoming opponent.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, so
Used
a
teams.
lot of returning Danvillians that went while they were Danvillians while they were in school here anyway will be coming back to visit this weekend. Is this a milestone year for you, Patrick, or are you?
Not quite. I got a couple more. Last year was a 10 year.
Tennis, okay, yeah.
Well, when we was going to school at Danville, that's where we played the football game.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hey, football back then?
Yes, it did.
Leather helmets.
Well, it wasn't that old.
What else you got? What else you got?
That's it.
That's it? All right. Phil, what do you have?
Like, my buddy Short over, I don't have everything right now.
Don't have anything.
Just hang on, what I have written there still.
Jason?
I just realized you guys got all your Keiko and,
Yeah, Nathan, there,
oh my goodness.
you didn't get the memo.
No, I did not. I went last week to what they call Copapalooza, which was put on by Intercounty. It was in Frankfurt. Essentially, it was an economic development meeting, talking, and they had people from all over the world come in. They had a guy from Germany that came in, talking about, you know, how they see Kentucky and the bright future that it has, and what we have to offer. So that was really neat to be there, and Terry was there, Josh was there, and Jody ended up being there as well. So it was a good afternoon to go and kind of learn some things, and I have them sending me the slides so that I can share with you all. So I thought it was important, especially given our new start here with Boyle County's economic development. And I was hoping Chris was going to be here so we could kind of talk about his father's honor flight, but maybe we'll get him next time. It's my understanding today is also the day that the the DAR was founded, I believe. I saw.
In
18?
Yeah,
1820? I don't know. Anyway, so Daughters of the American Revolution was founded today, so I know we've got a very active chapter
Robust
here.
chapter here.
Yeah, that does a fantastic job, and so it's, just remember the work that they do. And then last week, we have, you guys met her not too long ago. Her name's Abigail Thomas and Antonio Thomas. Their mother passed away suddenly last week, and so if you could.
What's the name again?
Thomas.
Elizabeth Thomas was her name.
Elizabeth, yeah, and then Harold Thomas, I think, was the father, or is the father, husband. So if y'all could keep the Thomases in your thoughts, and you know they're not only on our Boyle County Fire Department, but they're also EMS. Antonio EMS or no? Okay, but Abigail is. So her Abby, she goes by lots of things. So anyway, but yeah. So just if we could keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and that would be wonderful.
Okay. Anything
Judge,
else?
can I back up?
Sure.
I was just thinking, within the next few days or week or so, probably before next court meeting, we'll be getting with the two young ladies that were presenting the $8,000 scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
To each one of them. I'll begin with those ladies to find out how they're getting along in the first year of college, the first 3 days, and what have you, and if they've drawn any money yet, and what have you. So that probably interests the court.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're doing that. I'd like to have them come into the court meeting next, but it seems like it's going to be impossible with their classes and so on.
It might be, but feel welcome to extend that invitation if
I'd like to get back with you. All right. If they did, but if they don't, I'll have to go with them individually somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway,
Thank you, sir.
report. Pancake breakfast, Junction City Fire Department, is coming Saturday. So I think it's the 15th. So it's another busy weekend, which is great. I love fall. We had a great time in Parable this weekend.
remind you of the bean soup dinner in play at Forkland Community Center,
Yep.
both Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so
Tom, did I steal your thunder? Some of it.
I'll probably have more to
Could
say
I add
about it.
something to what Jason said about the Civil War? Didn't you say something?
the American Daughters of the American Revolution, yes sir.
A lot of people don't realize in Junction City, on Short Acres, there is a graveyard up there that's got Civil War veterans in it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
They finally went in and cleaned it up. When I was a boy, I used to go in there and play in it, and we'd fall in the graves. But anyway, but they did clean it up. That's what it is. It's a black graveyard.
Okay.
And last, I'm just grateful for the leadership that we've had on this broadband. I know this is something that you've been working on ever since ARPA money came out, and has been a very important thing for Boyle County. So I appreciate the court as well, realizing that this is a huge. I mean,
This is a big step for all of us.
yeah, like Jamie said, this is roads. You know, this is important. You know, we heard it at the pulse of the people that broadband, outside of safety on 52 and on 34,
Yeah.
broadband was the next biggest,
It was.
especially in my district, and then Tom's and
Well,
Ronnie's.
it's really something we've been working on before Hopper. I mean, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That started discussing of the broadband. And
The
so
judge and I were
really got
using-
on board with it then, so it's been a while.
Yeah, we were in Frankfurt, had a special meeting on it, 3.5 years ago.
Right. And I have one last thing.
That was the
One last thing. We talked last week, our last meeting, about, you know, the prices of what the Humane Society costs for cats. And while that does seem like a lot of money, I think I confirmed that it is about $125. That includes spayed, neutered, chipped, vet checkup. So when you get this cat, you're not going to have to go do all those things at the vet, which would probably run you about $200 to $300 to do all of that. So it's important that we recognize, while it does sound like a lot, I think when people realize what they have to go to the vet and do, you know, it's actually a cost savings. So I just wanted to clarify that where it
Well,
doesn't.
what we were saying, Jason, is they got grant funding to pay for that.
Well, there's grant funding for
Some-
people to bring cats to a vet, not necessarily that.
There are criteria for that, and it's mostly an underserved population that can take full advantage of
So
that.
a lot of that's already paid for.
So, yeah,
Let's put it that way.
in some expenses, yeah. But the microchipping, the vet fees, all that other stuff is paid for by the Humane Society. So just wanted to kind of set the record straight.
What's the cost on dogs?
I think right now,
They're higher than the cats.
Oh, I'm sure.
but they have I hate to say this, they always have sales. You know, there's different things where they'll have money that has come in, somebody's donated money or whatever, and so the fees have been reduced, you know, whatever.
One thing, we don't pick up cats anymore.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yes.
But it's because they have a hard time when people see that price tag. They're like, oh, it's charge me this, I can get a free cat or whatever. But then you realize there's other costs built in but then once they get the cats and nobody takes them, they can only have them there for so long before they have to put them down. So that's.
All right. Is that it? Okay. Tom?
I'm glad that Mike has stayed. His guys did a tremendous job this weekend in Perryville, and please pass that on personally for me, since that's my district. Likewise, Brian Wolford's coverage was wonderful. And if you're ever out and see the guys, the inmates, stop and talk with them. I spent about 10 minutes with the two who were right there in Perryville, and it was really enlightening. We talked about the great work that James Hunn is doing with them, and they were very effusive in their praise of that program that we're helping with. I got into some personal things with the two fellows and encouraged them for their futures. And I think anytime we have that opportunity with programs, we're trying to get them back into society as tax-paying members, it's worthwhile to stop and talk with them. Had a rather exciting morning yesterday. I came in just after the morning rush and looked over to the north side of Perryville Road as I was coming in, and a 25-foot van, rental van, Penske rental van. Unfortunately, and the fellow talked to me, he followed too closely and not only had to slam on the brakes, but he veered off near the cornfield right when you first hit the row of houses, and took out a knee wall of stone about 12 feet long and this high, and absolutely destroyed that truck. I hadn't been there 2 minutes when, thank goodness, Chief Anthony Young just happened by, and he immediately called it in. The truck was leaking fuel, and within 2 minutes, Tony Royal showed up, a number of volunteers. I want to give accolades to the 911 call center, because they acted on it very quickly, because within a couple more minutes there were 2 sheriff's deputies there and a half a dozen volunteers, and then Brian Caldwell showed up as well. I went up to the porch because I've met the 93-year-old resident many times, and she was more concerned, is the young man okay, than the fact that it had just absolutely destroyed her knee wall out there. And by good coincidence, her daughter is also one of my constituents, so I made sure when the accident report was going to the owner, I didn't think this wonderful lady could necessarily handle it all, so we hooked her up, both in terms of the driver on insurance and the police officers, the sheriff's deputies are coordinating with the daughter on that. So accolades all around to all our agencies that got involved in it.
I'm going to jump in here because there's one agency that shows up every time I go on these wrecks that really never actually gets any credit. Now they get paid for this, but Don and Patty's, when they come up to a scene, they get that place cleared out as quick as possible, and I'm always amazed how they can just. We had a stonewall incident up on 33. A car had flipped over, and he was able to pull that car out. So I'm always impressed with how quick they respond.
Well, they hopped out with 6 or 8 bags, probably 60 to 80 pound bags of absorbent. And while they were doing that, something I didn't know they could do, because this young man had just filled up 65 gallons in that tank of fuel.
What they had done and what the driveway, you can visualize this driveway came out, and evidently he was backing out and got over, and that truck was straddling like this is the wall. It was straddling and just, couldn't move either way.
Oh, it was the largest tow truck I've ever seen in my life. Because this young man was very fortunate. If he'd been 10 more feet toward the cornfield, he would have flipped over, probably landed on the top. And but every one of our agencies did such an extraordinary job.
How'd they get the truck out? A large record?
The largest record I've ever seen. And the fascinating thing that I didn't know about, because I was extremely concerned that 65 gallons would leak out, while some of the guys were spreading the absorbent, they were puttying the breach in the tank and shut it down within 6 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So from the call that Anthony Young made to all the activity that really lasted for about 3 hours, because I came back through to check and see what was going on in the wrecker. They had to get the biggest one in Kentucky, I think, so they had to wait for the wrecker to get there. But the guys were moving traffic. There were no long delays or anything, so accolades to them. BCTC has helped out because of broadband. One of my constituents operates a business out 34, out Lebanon Road, and they very kindly opened up the lab for her so she can run in and run out, 3 or 4 times a month. Aaron Tipton, judge, was the one who helped to work that out with James Nayhouse, the new guy who's running BCTC. So just a very nice way for our tax dollars to be extended out and used in a further way, because there's no cost to someone coming in like that. So if you get in a pinch and have someone in need, that's worth mentioning. And then of course Portland this weekend, like the judge said, first of all, we all want to be there. Probably ought to get there about 4 o'clock so that we know where at your Friday session.
It starts at 2:30, so you won't be there before that.
Oh, I thought you said 4:30.
2:30.
Okay, my bad then. Yes, we want to be there about 2 o'clock. That is so important and going to be so well received. If you look over Patrick's left shoulder there, one of my tiniest road, well, it is my tiniest road, Mill Creek, behind you there. That fella is doing something high-tech off a satellite right now, but he cannot wait, as many others that I've been seeing in the last few weeks, can't wait for broadband. So that's going to be very good news. Judge, I think that pretty well covers it. Thank you.
You don't have page 2?
Page 2?
You're the one who came back 3 times.
I got interrupted 4 times. So.
I just have one thing. I just wanted to brief you a little bit. We continue to collect the financial disclosures that are required from committee members. I have not received the ones from planning and zoning. It's my understanding that they've been filed, but they use the city form instead of the county form. So I think we're in the process of getting that cleaned up. And we also sent out the ordinances, and we're getting acknowledgments back from our committee members. And the ethics committee will meet on the 19th. at 9 o'clock, and they will go through those and make sure they're complete and file them away, and we can put this to bed. So, but we are, every day they come in. I just wanted to let you know where that stood.
All right.
Do you see anybody who's not going to decide?
I don't know.
We have had some committee resignations.
Yes, we've had some, that's right, resignations. We've had some that I guess I'll send them a second notice and see where we are.
Judge, you feel like it's over this issue?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And the new EDC will decide which ethics ordinance they're going to follow, whether it'll be ours or the city's, and then they'll file the financial disclosures based on whichever entity. I feel like they're going to go for ours because that was part of what we requested, but that'll be decided on the 19th.
So it's their choice, which one?
Yeah, they really should follow ours.
It's the most current.
They can make a stricter one,
Okay.
but yeah, and that's it.
All right, well, thank you. And if nobody has any alibis, I encourage you to go to Forkman this Friday, and you can go back Saturday, partake in the bean soup and the play. It will be an enjoyable fall weekend for you. It's supposed to be great weather, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm especially looking forward to seeing all of you that we can get there on Friday afternoon at no later than 2:30.
You're putting pressure on you.
I am putting pressure on.
It's incredibly important.
So,
Well, tell them we don't have to pay the fee to get in, or we won't be there.
Make a motion to adjourn.
they have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And second by Magistrate Cullen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those like sign, motion carries. We stand adjourned.
Good
Thank you.
meeting.